Joker's still rolling, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Sharp
What's
as ever. So.
sharp as ever, man? What's up, guys? How you guys doing? I got my boy Andrew here, guys, with some awesome information today. And we were just talking about our mentor, old Paul. I call him Paul. My Paul, Ron LeGrand, man. Oh my God, man! Remember I told Ron at a seminar. It was at the business management seminar that I saw you in the first time.
Yeah.
He was like, I said, man, I had to every time I see him, I had to thank him, man, because he changed
Yeah.
my freaking life, man. I was driving forklifts, man, $12 an hour with 3 kids,
Yeah.
man. You know that was hell. $12 an hour, 3 kids,
No
man.
kidding, man.
Lord have mercy. Thank God for Ron, man.
Amen to that. I'll echo that, man. He's one of a kind, and man, the value he gave, and I tell you, February of 2014 is when I heard of his voice on the radio for the first time, and picked up the phone and dialed. And man, I've got to say that decision I made to pick up the phone and call on that ad changed my life. And
Same here, man.
Couple of months later, I find myself, of course, at one of his live events and borrowing money to give to him, and it changed my life.
Man, I was so hungry. I did. I done the same thing. We called and got registered. Went to that event, and man, I was so hungry when I got to the boot camp. I already had leads, and he actually closed one of my leads on stage. It was a subject to my first deal. Subject to. He closed it on stage, man. And back in 2004, man, I was like, because I didn't really think people to sell their property subject to.
Yeah.
Andrew, to be honest with you, I'm like, no.
Nobody
Man,
did that.
He closed it. And she wasn't even behind on payments.
Ain't that something?
Wow. People really would do this. And I only had to give her $2,000, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
The house was worth, I think, $150 or something like that.
Wow. Ain't that something? And she won. She got out of the house, the payments, man. And you won and got a beautiful asset, and everybody won. Probably turned around and lease option the property, I'm guessing, right?
Lease option and cashed out 2 years later, man, and made another 30.
Yeah. That's
God,
man. A beautiful thing.
So thank you guys for joining us. I got my guy Andrew here. Man, Andrew is awesome, man. As soon as Andrew got in this business, he just went haywire. He went crazy, man. Andrew, tell us, well, first of all, tell us where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I now hail from Louisville, Kentucky. I was born and raised in a little town in southern Illinois. And my dad was a pastor growing up for many years, and then worked a full-time job, pastored small churches, and worked a full-time job managing a hog farm through my very young years, and then started a construction company right before I became a teenager. And so as a teenager, I was going to work with dad doing construction and whatever. And then at 21, you heard me reference it a moment ago, is when I had encountered some health problems the previous year. Was in ICU. I wasn't sure what to do. And I'd said while I was in ICU, I said, God, if you'll get me out of here alive, I'll help everybody I can. And so that when I heard that radio ad and then I went to that event, I knew that was something I wanted to do. And I immediately started doing that, real estate deals. And so kind of progressing to where we are, I was helping people, as we just referenced. We help sellers and buyers and everybody, but I felt I wanted to do more. And that's when the door opened in late 2017, and Ron LeGrand's office called me and said, will you become a mentor? And I said, I would be honored. And so been seeing others' lives change. I got a wall behind me of student testimonials, and I got a bunch more on the desk that I haven't got up yet. So, so that's kind of where I'm from, and a little bit of background about myself of how I started. But 21, no credit, and no money, and just grit and some good, thank God, the right training.
And so many people, just like I thought too, Andrew, I thought you needed a lot of money to get into real estate.
Yeah.
I thought you had because you're talking about big assets. So I'm thinking, man, you got to have at least 100 grand or 200 grand, and then you listen to other people who don't know anything, and they say, "Oh yeah, man, you got to have a lot of money." Like they know.
I remember our mentor saying, if you're going to get rich, you can't listen to broke people tell you how to do it.
Ooh, hey, bad. Well, he hit that on the head for real.
He
they
did.
can't tell you nothing that they don't know, that they haven't experienced.
Exactly right. And so I started out wholesaling. Funny enough, at my first live event, they had closed my first deal, negotiated it, set up my deal meeting for me to go home and get a contract on my first wholesale deal.
Wow.
And that netted me $3,000. And that's
life-changing.
Oh my goodness. Just that it made it so real. It made it so real because I had $10 at risk.
Right.
And now I made $3,000. And it's like, our average profit today is $38,000 per deal. But just looking at $3,000 from $10 in a few weeks, it was like, oh my goodness, this really works.
Really works, man.
Set me on the path, man.
Wow. Awesome, man. Because it's just so crazy. It's still like as well as I do. It's so, I would say, amazing how you could just take $10 to $100. A lot of these sellers, since we're doing the contract virtually, e-sign, we don't even give up any earners money. But
right.
You're still walking away with a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 check. Man, I just got off an option deal for $60,000, man, in June. Option.
Yep.
Man, that option's been working pretty good. We got about 5 we sent out today. 5 options. So
ain't that something?
2 or 3 of those back.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. So
go ahead.
So Andrew, how did you do it, man?
So starting out, as I mentioned, I started off wholesaling. And so I, flip a contract, get the house under contract, flip it, and put a little money in the bank and do the next one. And then I started implementing, I call it the pretty house strategy, buying the subject twos and the owner financing. And I done that throughout the end of 2014. I done about 12 deals from April 23rd till the end of the year. And I said, oh my goodness, this works.
Yeah.
And so I started looking for a field agent. And so this just goes to the creative side of, entrepreneurship, really.
Right.
And so I found a guy who I met a dozen or so people at Starbucks. I would post a Craigslist ad, need somebody to do calls, meet them. Yeah, I'll do it. And then, of course, never hear from them again. Right. And so finally I met this guy and he said, well, yeah, I would love to do that. And I said, well, cool. So I said, here's what you do. I spent about 30 minutes showing him the questions to ask. And he started doing it. And next thing I know, he's sending me 15 filled out lead sheets a week with the questions answered on them. And of course, it was good for him because he was getting paid per sheet a little bit. And then every time I bought a house, I would give him a bonus. And so $250.
Okay. And on the lead sheet, how much you used to give him just to fill it out?
$5 to fill it out, or 10 if he found a deal, because he was out a lot. So he would find a for sale by owner yard sign and call about it. I would pay him 10 if he found it and called, or if he just called when I sent him, it would be 5, and then an additional for a deal I closed. And once that started working, it clicked in his mind. Oh my gosh, I get these filled out. I do it right. Every 15 or 20, I say, Andrew, I get $250. And so he's doing this 10 hours a week. And I found myself, this was 2015, and I found myself calling these deals and closing them. And that alone is one of the strategies that helped me get enough leads to buy 50 houses in 2015 in 52 weeks when I was 22.
Wow, you was rolling. So how did that look, Andrew? Was you doing everything, you and your brother? Tell my boy I say hey too, man.
I sure will. I'll be glad to hear from you. So, Yeah. To answer your question, I got some help. Of course, I had, I call them my dream team. I had, of course, my closing attorney who was doing my closings for me. And then the gentleman who was my field agent on steroids calling and pre-screening these houses for me. But yes, other than that, it was me and Aaron. And I was going out and buying the houses, and he was at night emailing over contracts to title to make sure that it was scheduled for closing and all of that. And so that's how we started out.
Wow, y'all was rolling, man.
Yeah.
So that one field agent just took flight.
Yeah, took flight, and then I had a new problem. Uh-oh. I had bought in early 2016, so I bought 50 houses in 52 weeks in 2015. In early 16, I bought 26 houses in about a 9-week period. And I said, wait a second, what am I going to do with these? And so I had a guy who I'd known for several years. We went to church together and different things. And I called him one day. I said, how would you like to help me get these houses filled with lease options? And he says, I'd love to. And so that is how I started working with my first dispositionist, who helped me lease option the properties. Wow. And start filling them as fast as I could get them bought.
Wow. So them 52 properties that you flipped at first in the beginning.
Yeah.
That was a mixture of, you said, wholesale deals.
Yeah.
Owner financing and subject twos.
Absolutely. So in 2015, I started off with wholesaling to get rolling, 2014. And in 2015, about 85 to 90% of the stuff was actually owner financing and subject to. And about that 10 to 15%. So, only a handful of properties I ended up wholesaling and fixing and flipping, because I'd figured out how to raise some private money by then. So I was able to keep a few, paying cash and fixing them. But majority, I'm just shooting from the hip. I don't remember the exact number, but I would say 40 of them were subject to and owner financing.
Wow.
In 2015.
Man, how important, Andrew, would you say it is to know how to do more than one type of real estate transaction?
100%. It's vital. I always, I talk a lot about wholesaling. People who see me out know me as the wholesaler in some cases. And I love that, because for people needing to get started, it's a way. You heard me referencing $10. I got a student testimonial that ain't went up yet. This guy, he had $10 at risk, and he cashed a check for $71,699.12.
See there,
about 3 weeks later. So, there's just no better way than to start in wholesaling. But once you do that, those leads that are coming in that you're wholesaling, there is at least that many that you're missing that don't fit the wholesale model that you can turn and do subject twos, owner financing, or some sort of creative type of transaction.
Guys, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. It's so important. I was blessed, man, just like you, to learn everything at one time, to learn all these different strategies, because I thought, like mostly everybody, you got to go to the bank to get a loan to buy a house, and that's it, or either have cash.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about you can take over a deed, a property subject to, or you can do a owner financing with somebody. That was a total game changer.
Well, and I'll mention too, I've had a lot of people ask me when I bring up subject to and owner financing, why would anybody do that? And I said, it just depends. I mean, I've had people who their objective was debt relief. And there was one lady recently, and she was $4,000 behind, and it was either she was going to sell it to us or she was going to lose it. And we bought it from her, and she was able to not only have 3 weeks to get the stuff out she needed when she wouldn't have had that otherwise, but now she's getting perfect pay history on her credit because we're paying that mortgage on her behalf. And then another lady, she was about to lose the house on back taxes. She was out of money. Her water had got shut off. Her electric was getting shut off that week. Wow. It was tough. And she was determined on a certain number, and she couldn't get that number. It just didn't work. And so she was determined she would not sell the house. She would rather lose it than take less. So I said, I'll give you that number, wow, but in monthly payments. And so I bought a house. It needed some work, but I bought a house that wound up 2 years later being worth over 100 because, I had worked out with my tenant buyer to put work into it. I bought it for $60,000 with $1,500 down and $300 a month. And I was the answer to her prayer, because without me, she'd have got zero, and she got $1,500 in her pocket to move and $300 a month for the rest of her life. Unfortunately, she passed away recently, and we had actually was able to work out paying her kids. And anyway, everybody won. But, those are just two of hundreds of deals that we've done. And, there's all sorts of reasons. So the answer is most won't, but the small minority that you deal with who will. And you'll be the answer to their prayer. So just make sure you go out and find those. Yeah,
that's what we're looking for, guys. Like Paul say, deal with people who only want to deal with you. If a person want to sell subject to, guys, it'll be usually an easy transaction. When it's hard and you got to over-explain, go back and forth, usually how it starts, from my experience, is how it's finished. How it starts is usually how it finished. Like Paul say, only deal with people that want to deal with you.
Yep.
That's it. You can't make anybody sell subject to, because I had a person, well, how you make them sell subject to?
Don't happen.
You can't make anybody. They got to be motivated, man. You got to be ready.
Yeah. Well, when you work with those who need to sell and don't just want to sell, everything changes. I've had people who called 20 people off of Zillow and said, well, this don't work. There's no FSBO. Somebody just the other day commented on one of my videos and says, there's no owner financing deals in my area. I said, there is. You just have to find them. They're not posted out online that, hey, I need to sell my house fast. Call me today and I will owner finance you with nothing down. You just don't see them that way. So, it's about finding them.
Right. It's right, man. You got to you got to market. How big is the market, Andrew, would you say? To the bid?
Well, it's huge. And I started out when I got started in this business, I lived in Bellerive, Illinois. Have you heard of that?
Oh, where's that?
Same reaction everybody has, because it's a town of 400 people. It's in southern Illinois, just outside of Mount Vernon. If you know where 64 and 57 intersect, it's about 15 miles from there. Wow. And out in the country. And so I had to go to a city near us, because there was no way in a town of 400 people I could buy 400 houses. Right. So I went about 90 miles over to a town of 120,000, Evansville, Indiana, and that's where I started. And I've done hundreds and hundreds of deals there. And then just last year, I've been doing a few deals in the Louisville market as well now for 4 or 5 years off and on. And so I just moved over here last year for several reasons. But yeah, if it wasn't for wanting to grow beyond our, 50 deals a year or whatever, I could have, easily just stayed in the Evansville market. But at the end of the day, wherever you are, unless you're in the country, you got to go to a town near you. There's deals.
And we're doing everything virtually anyway, so there's no excuses for anybody not to have any deals.
That's when I started. I was visiting every house. Now I must say, and I teach virtual because I do virtual. Of the houses I've bought this year, I would say I've actually had to go to maybe 4 out of 30. It just, and I probably didn't even have to go to those. They just that 3 of them happened to be within about 10 minutes of my house, so I couldn't help myself.
Sometimes, man, you gotta, like me too. Sometimes you just gotta go see it. Sometimes.
Yeah. But I only go when I have reason to. I don't go to how. I went the other day to 3 houses I'd never seen. I've owned them for months, and I was just doing videos for my YouTube for people. Yeah. And so I went by them, and I was as surprised as my viewers because I had never seen the property.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Any question, guys, for Andrew? Put it in the chat, please.
Yes, we love questions.
It's so awesome, man, to be able to do it virtually. Because I remember when I started back in 2004, we only had the cell phone, mail and letters, door knocking, and signs.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't do text messages, ringless voice messages, and stuff like that.
No, it's changed. Even just since I started 2014, it's amazing. And then every bad thing that happens, there's good in it if you look for it, of course.
Yep.
And we as entrepreneurs, that's what we do. And when COVID happened, any resistance that was for the virtual totally lifted.
Yep.
And people are 1,000% okay now with selling their house virtually.
I love it. It's better now because I remember before COVID, when we used to tell people just take a picture of, the kitchen baths, a couple of quick pictures. They're like, no, we're not sending pictures of our house. So it was a little harder, but now, like you said, virtual people are more with virtual.
They're with it. And the other thing is, I'll mention when you're wholesaling, and in my business, at least the way I do it, if I'm wholesaling, I don't ever need to see it ever. My buyer's going to buy it. I'm flipping the contract. I don't own it, or if I do for a few minutes at most, and you get a check at closing or a wire from closing if you're not there in person. Right. So it's very easy to do that virtually. On the terms deals, I do make sure prior to closing, if I'm buying the house and I'm going to own it for a while, I always make sure prior to closing that I have somebody who I trust in the city where I'm buying to do a walkthrough just to make sure there's no surprises the seller's hid from me or whatever. Right. It could be an inspector. It could be some boots on the ground. It could be somebody you know and trust who knows how to look at a house. But I do have somebody pay them $50 or whatever to go walk through and make sure there's not some big obvious thing that we missed. But again, I mean, it's $50. It is what it is. It don't take but 2 minutes of my time to make that call prior to closing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, when you wholesaling, Andrew, I get this question all the time. What do you tell the seller?
Well, I'm very open, honest, and transparent. So now I've heard some people take that as, hello, my name's Andrew. I'm not buying your house, but I want to get a contract. Okay, that's not quite the script, right? You're not going to get a deal.
Not that crazy.
But I negotiate the deal with them and build rapport, and then I let them know, depending on the situation. I have scripts I use, but I basically let them know, look, this looks good to me from the photos you sent me, but I will be sending some of the folks I work with out prior to closing to confirm the facts and verify that we're good to go to closing. And so what's the best way to get those folks through when I send them through? And that's how I reference it. And typically I get them to leave a key. Sometimes if there's a tenant in there or the seller still lives there, and you'd be surprised how many of the wholesale, not you because you do it all the time, but people in general are surprised at how many of the wholesales are actually vacant. And it's easy to, just get a key put there and go. But when you have a tenant or whatever, if I'm wholesaling a deal and it has a tenant, I just go to my buyer's list, which we build up a buyer's list. I, of course, go through detail how to do that in my different training. But that is building your buyer's list. And I will just the other day, I wholesaled one to someone from my buyer's list who I knew could close, and a wholesale fee of $14,000. I know I could have got more, but there was a tenant and I couldn't run
Yeah,
10 or 15 people
everybody in
through.
there. That would have been a headache trying to put all that together. You know that. Oh my God.
So I just sent through a guy who I knew would close if he wanted it, and he bought it, and it worked. And so and surprisingly enough, I even have some buyers who never even look at them; they just buy them, and that's what fits their model. There's a paying tenant in it, and the math works, so they just want to buy it. So.
Right. Let's go. Now, what do you think, Andrew, about this market, this real estate market, man? They say about 4 million people are behind on payments.
Well, it's an interesting time, man. Nothing I've ever seen before. I will say I'm excited as an investor that we're still buying a lot of deals. And I think for everyone out there who's investing, just position yourself, make sure you have the right knowledge to structure deals, and make sure that you're building out your base and stack as much cash as you can, because I think if you're buying 50 a year now, by next year you might buy 100 or more.
Ooh, party time, baby.
Yeah. And I mean, they're going to be able to help so many sellers. I mean, just do the math. That's the lady I just referenced was 4,000 behind on pay. She lost her job, and due to the moratorium, they hadn't finished the foreclosure yet, but it was just a matter of time, and she didn't have the money to catch it up. And so we was the answer to her prayer. And not to mention, we took over 101 and the house is worth 180.
Wow. Ooh, that's a power move. So
yeah.
What you gonna do with that? When you're gonna sell it or keep renting it out?
We lease option it, worked for equity. It needed paint and carpet.
Okay.
So we gave the lease option buyer the discount, and instead of 180, 189.9 like we would have done if we fixed it, we just done 174.9, and they agreed to do the paint and the carpet to the house.
Okay, man, I like that. So what you do with the now? Do you still charge the 10% down payment, or you let them get in a little light when you're doing the work for equity?
We usually, we always ask what they can do. We've done it multiple ways. I've had work for equity deals. They actually gave me 20 or 30% down. I've also had work for equity deals where they would give me the 15 or 20%, but ask that I get A and B done before they move in.
Right.
But in this case, we did let them in light on the upfront, because if they do what they say, they're going to be putting $7,000 or $8,000 into the property. If they don't, well, we'll deal with that when it comes. But in the meantime, they're paying, and we have a cash flow every month, and so it's a win-win.
And guys, you don't have to fix up these properties. Like Andrew said, that work for equity program just said if you got a property need 10 or 15 in repairs, you got a tenant buyer that they go in there and do the work themselves, and you could give them a discount on the back end. Just say if you were going to sell, like Andrew said, 189.9, if it was in good shape.
Yeah.
So instead of selling for 189.9, he sold it for 174. Is that right?
Yep. So 174.9, and they're doing the work.
So keep that in mind, guys. Stop thinking, excuse me. Stop thinking you got to come and fix up all these properties. You don't have to fix them up, guys.
Believe me, when I bought 50 and 52 weeks at 22, I wasn't fixing many properties. you can't, at that pace, you can't. And, I did have a guy, a couple guys I hired. And, I'll just give you an example. If there's a power that's disconnected or a active drip in the plumbing, like, just write the check for a few $100 and get it fixed, because you're going to have way more issues than you care. But if there's paint or there's pink carpet or there's purple room, I mean, just let the buyer know, hey, you can make this whatever you want it. And I've had them before, people are people, and no matter where you go. And I've had a tenant buyer before, come in with 5% down because they're going to do the work. And then they say, well, I'll do the work and you take it off my purchase price. I say, I already did. We just had the discussion that it was going to be 189.9 and now it's 174.9. That doesn't work for you. No worries. And most of the time I don't blame them for trying, but they come on and on occasion I've had buyers who was going to put money down and move in back out because they, I'd already gave them a discount and they wanted an additional one. You just simply ask and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the business. Guys, every deal is different and they all are different, man.
Yeah.
They are. Let me see. We got any question? Any question, guys? Put it in the chat for us, please. Jay Hills, how do you manage your VA with day-to-day tasks?
Good question. Thanks for that question. So a couple of things that we do is, number one, starting out, I had the VAs, doing the calls for me, the pre-screening. And so I would just let them know what I wanted them to do, which is run ads and make phone calls to fill out lead sheets for me to find out the information. Now we've progressed and we also have in-office staff. And so the way I look at it as a business owner is I want to do three things. I want to focus on the revenue, but starting out, I wanted to focus on getting leads. So making sure they were coming in and following up quickly with those leads. Never let the sun go down on a good lead. I'm telling you, if they're hot, get the house bought. And then get out to the house and get a contract. If you're doing it in person, if you're doing it virtually, get the photos and fire out the contract. My goal is every time I talk to a seller, if a seller comes in, by the end of that day, I want a contract if I want the house. We move fast. And so at the end of the day, we try to put every task possible on the VA that's revolving pre-screening, because you don't want to talk to 100 sellers to find out 7 are interested. So pre-screening, running ads, no reason for you to fight with Craigslist taking down your ad. Your VA needs to do that, make sure that everything is up and running, and every task possible that your VA can do for you that revolves around responding to emails, texts, and pre-screening is what we try to set forth for them to do.
So do you have like you can get an office manager now too. So do you have who do you have on the back end doing the selling side? Your brother still running that part?
No. So I have an acquisitionist who does the buying and a dispositionist who does the selling.
Okay.
And so the acquisitionist is responsible for sending over documents to the title company. And the dispositionist is responsible for getting the non-refundable option deposits from the tenant buyer. And then we have an answering service, Pat Live, who takes all the inbound calls from buyers and sellers. And the acquisitionist and dispositionist can return calls accordingly.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
We got any questions? All right, Andrew, let's tap into, let me take this down. Tell us a little bit about your wholesaling course.
Yeah, so the wholesaling actually is, we was referencing Ron earlier. It's Ron LeGrand and me teaching wholesaling A to Z. So as we've already made mention, if you begin implementing the strategies in this training system, you'll find all sorts of deals if you know how to transact them. But always just starting out, making sure you can flip a contract. I mean, just finding deals all around you and contracting them at price A, and then finding your buyers and flipping that contract at price B and getting a check or a wire from the difference, all virtually, never leaving your desk, is what I do and what the training is all about. And so you can do this anywhere in the U.S. from anywhere you have an internet connection. Right. And so the training just goes through and takes you out from as if you've never done a deal before. How are you going to find deals? How to structure the deals, contract the deals. I've put in there the pre-filled out versions of the contract and blank versions of the contract, the scripts for the questions you or your VA need to ask the seller, and the scripts for what you need to say to close the seller and get the best deal. In fact, I just got an email from one of my virtual wholesaling students who messaged me and said, thank you for your script. I followed it and I got the seller down by over $30,000 by using your script.
Hey,
and so,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Andrew.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that is that the best you can do? Oh my God, that's like a magic question. Oh my God,
it's beautiful, brother.
I would say probably about 8 or 9 times out of 10 it gets them down, man. I use it almost everywhere. I use it in the grocery store if they'll give me a discount.
Yeah. Cashiers, like your total's $278, right? That's the best you can do. Oh, I love it, man. But yeah. So, and then we just go through a lot of the marketing. How obviously outbound calls to how you're going to get your VA set up, and calling sellers is vital. But then also, how are you going to get sellers calling you? And we go through all those strategies, the free ways, the cheap ways, and then eventually the expensive ways. Yeah. And we cover that A to Z, and then how to deal with the title companies and how to get the checks. And I've added bonuses in there. In fact, I added a chapter about why you shouldn't wholesale in my wholesaling training. And it talks all about the terms and how that sometimes you want to keep the property. And then I did an interview with our friend Jay Connor on one of the bonus.
My boy.
Yeah, brother Jay.
Jay, man.
He's great, man. So he was kind enough to come in at a bonus section all about the private money. And he's, for everybody who buys my virtual wholesaling training, he's giving them his free book on how to get private money. Wow. And so that's a pretty cool bonus. There's a bunch of others I'll share a little more about as well before the end today. But that's a little bit more about the training. Just takes you A to Z from getting the deal to getting the check, and every possible scenario in between, basically.
Yeah, guys, you could like Andrew said, he started off in a town with 120,000 people, guys. Jay been up there killing them forever. I think his population like 100,000.
That's his town's 40.
Yeah,
40,000. Yeah, it's it's awesome what he does up there, man.
In that one town, he's like the king over there, man.
He is it.
That goes to show you guys, you can do this anywhere. You just got to have a will and a never give up, never quit attitude. Yeah. Once you get that first check, what they call it, the shut up check. Once you get that check, man, it's over with. Yeah. And you can do it. That's what I have. That's what I have to talk to my students about. Keeping them focused. It's all about breaking your paradigm. Your old habits. You got to form new habits. You guess what? If you're starting new, you weren't doing any real estate. Now you're doing real estate. So you need to be listening to real estate. You need to be studying your manuals. You need to keep going through your course. You got to eat, sleep, and live it. If you want to manifest,
100%.
Fall out of the sky.
And once you get, I've got student checks all around me, but I've got 4 or 5 of mine on the wall up there as well. But, I've done over 400 deals now. But in the beginning, I got those checks, and you put it over your desk or somewhere where you see them. And now every day when you're in there and you're making calls and somebody's having a bad day and, says, no, I'm not selling you my house, and hangs up on you. Like now you're, oh my goodness. You're sitting here looking at the progress. So having those down, that's something else I take you through in my training. After you go through the entire training, I have a whole section on setting your goals. Not only setting them, which is key, as you know, to accomplish anything, setting them down with a deadline, but then how am I going to get there? So, I'm going to wholesale a house by X day or 10 houses by X day. And I will do that by implementing these strategies that Andrew just taught me in the manual, A, B, and C. And so I have that a little study section where all that is broken down. And then for your viewers, not only do they get the free book from Jay Connor of where to get the money, what happens to be in my library right over there, but also your listeners will, when they go and get this training, will also get a free system. It's normally $14.97. It's a free cash flow system. It's all about how to get sellers calling you from Google ads and Facebook ads. And so that's how we get several dozen calling us every week. That's a free bonus they get. And another free bonus that your listeners are going to get is they're going to get the training on working with me directly. So it's not mentoring. I mentor for Ron, but they do get access to me for 90 days. So if they get a wholesale deal and they go, shoot, I need Andrew's help. Just shoot me the lead sheet. Shoot me if it's a contract. Shoot me. I'm not an attorney, but I can look at it and tell you what I'd do different. So shoot me the contract, shoot me the question, shoot me all the numbers on the deal and go, hey, is this a deal or it's not? Which all that's in the manual. But if you just need that extra push or help from somebody who's done a few hundred deals, you have that access. It won't be my assistant. It won't be my office manager. It will be coming directly from me. And so that's another free bonus that your folks are going to get here today if they want to take action. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, man. Let me
Absolutely.
See. We got a question here. Let's see. Good stuff, folks. Can you guys talk more about lease options? I've never done any lease options. I'm a rooming home guy. But of course, most of the time I have to put money in my rooming house to get them ready. So they're a rooming house type of guy. They said, can we talk more about lease options?
Yeah. So I mean, what's the rooming house? You know what that means?
It's when you rent out. You gotta just rent out rooms.
Well, he would have to sell it to one person. He wouldn't be able to lease it, option it by the room, of course. But to lease option a house, simply running an ad, rent to own your own beautiful home, bad credit, okay. And then when they call, I ask 3 questions. What's the most you can put down? What's the most you can pay monthly? And if you like the home when you see it, when are you ready to move forward?
Hey, that's all they need. That'll let you know, guys, if you got a tie kicker or somebody who really ready to rock and roll.
If they got $25,000 on a $150,000 house, they're approved.
So
exactly right.
Hey, boy, and people don't understand how many people have money to put down on properties. Like when you got a nice house in a nice area, man, we don't have any problems, and we still flood the block with 50 to 100 signs. Of course, we run all our ads, but on the weekend we go crazy. 50 to 100 signs per property, and man, that phone go to ringing.
Just about picking the right one.
You better have a system because there's gonna be so many calls. Lord have mercy.
Yeah. Yeah, sign up for Pat Live before you go putting out those signs and those ads, or you'll that'll be the last time you do it, I assure you. And then you'll you'll kick yourself for not getting Pat Live and call me and Ed and thank us.
Boy, I tried that one time. That was the last time. That phone will ring all night, man. You be so wore out after about 20, 30 calls. You like, listen. And then especially you talk to 20, 30 people who don't even have any money. You be like, oh.
Yeah.
That's terrible, man.
Because 80 or 90% of the ones who call have $1,000. If it's a $200,000 house, they have $1,000, $1,500, $900, $700. And you're dealing with that minority, just like when you buy. Your lease option, we're dealing with a minority who have money, but they do. It's just getting them to call.
Right.
Yeah.
And the right ones to call, but you're gonna have a lot of bull people calling, guys. You can have a half $500,000 house. Can you take 2,000 down?
Yeah.
The payment was more than that.
And $900 a month. I'm getting evicted next week.
Lord,
it's crazy. We had a 350,000. It was 369.9 recently up, and man, I could not believe the people with 2,000 down, 700 a month. The house rents for 2,200, and the calls you get, and so you definitely want to have that phone answering service set up because there are, we put up a house for $199.9 and got 40,000 down not too long ago.
Yeah.
But to get that, we got a lot of people who had 1,000 and 500 and 2,000 and had to pre-screen.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of tie kickers, guys.
Yeah.
Not everybody call gonna have 20 or 30,000, but we're looking for the ones that do. It's gonna be a couple of them gonna have it. That's what we're looking for.
Absolutely.
You make a house easy to buy, you'll never sit on a house.
Yeah.
Yep. Guys,
well, good.
Andrew wholesaling link is in the description, guys. Go sign up now. I don't know how long this deal gonna last. I think Andrew.
It's reiwithpurpose.com/start. And you can go there right now. Sign up. It's that's the special link for all of you. Thanks to the homie hookup, you're getting about $5,000 of free bonuses in there, and
Wow.
You'll enjoy that for sure. If the deal $997 is the discount for you all, it's normally $14.97 without the bonuses.
Wow.
So $997 is y'all's discount there with the bonuses. Or if you need to, there's an option in there when you go to reiwithpurpose.com/start. You can click the little payment button, and you can do 3 payments of $359. And so that's another way you can do it and get started now. And I teach you not to take less than $10,000 on a wholesale. And so if it just helps you get your first deal and get to your next marketing, I mean, it's way more than pays for itself. But for those who are truly implementing it, one other bonus you're going to get, can they comment right now, Eddie?
Yes.
Yeah. Comment. If you would like to get this for free, comment free. Say free to us right now. Are we getting any comments?
Yeah, let's see. Let's see who's actually paying attention. You're going to miss your blessing now. Don't try to
tell you how to get this for free if people comment free, but if they don't comment, I'm not going to tell them.
Guys, don't come an hour later talking about free.
Oh, my goodness. Nobody wanting to get it for free. Well,
wow,
they all want to pay, Eddie.
They ain't paying attention.
No attention.
Oh, I got one say free.
Free. Okay. All right. Well, then we're gonna tell them. So actually, one other thing I'm doing for you all, if you already went, you're getting this too. One other thing I'm going to do for you all is give you an opportunity to get it for free. And what I do is, oh my goodness, we got them popping in now.
Dude, they in like a jacket.
So for those of you who use the link we just shared, reiwithpurpose.com/start, and you sign up now. It's $997, the discounted price with over $5,000 worth of bonuses, or 3 payments of $359. But I'm going to send you a certificate. And if you do, and I actually just sent out one of these checks last week again. It's crazy. But I offer you $1,000 check when you do your first deal in the first 90 days. It has to be at least $3,000. If it's less than that, I'm going to beat you for doing it. Has to be at least $3,000. But $10,000 is the minimum I show you. And when you send me a check and a testimonial, then you get $1,000 check from me. And I love that. I love sending those because you guys will get on my wall with the rest of these awesome people. And, well, you can't even see them all. I'm surrounded. So send go fill that out now, and as part of the homie hookup, you're gonna have the opportunity to get it for free.
Go bless yourself, guys. Andrew is a real deal.
Absolutely.
Bless yourself. Any last words, Andrew, you want to say?
I just say, man, thank you for having me. What a awesome time together, and I hadn't got to see you for a while, so it's always good hanging out with you, man. Love your knowledge. The listeners are lucky to be have you a part of their life, and them yours. It's awesome, and sure great being with you. And I hope the folks got some awesome value today from the video, and I know they're gonna love that deal that they was able to get thanks to you on that wholesaling. So,
also, guys, follow Andrew. His YouTube is in the description and the Facebook. So
Absolutely.
make sure you follow Andrew. What any words you would say for Andrew to a new investor that's getting started?
There's two keys to getting started. Get the right training and take massive action. Actually, right before this video today, I just done one. It's going up on my YouTube. I do a ton of free content on my YouTube on wholesaling, creative, everything. And I'm getting ready to put it up, but it's all about those two things. You can be taking massive action in the wrong thing. If your car is about out of gas, you can either hurry and start pushing it to where you're going, or you can hurry to the gas station and then drive. Both are massive action, but one is totally wrong and one is totally right. And so make sure you're stopping at the gas station to get fuel so you can get there at 70 miles an hour and not taking massive action the wrong thing. So getting the right training is key. If you're looking to wholesale, there's no better training out there than me and the OG Ron LeGrand teaching you. You're going to love that, and make sure your action is headed in the right spot. And then as soon as you got the knowledge, guys, just get out there and take massive action. You're going to make some mistakes. You're probably going to blow up some deals. I blew up a bunch of deals in the beginning because I said stupid stuff and got off script. But you have the tools, take massive action, and change your life.
God bless you. Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you guys for tuning in. Love you guys. Keep growing. Keep going, baby. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace. See you next time.